dogs coming in to our shelter. It's going to be a stray dog running at large. It's going to be a bite case. It's going to be an aggressive dog. Now remember that. It's going to be an aggressive dog. And we also take in neglect cases that PD has. And we take in PD impounds. When somebody gets arrested, they come into our shelter. Impound periods range between 3, 5, and 10 days, except for your neglect cases. Now, that depends on the trial. We have held dogs for over 1.5 years that went into a neglect case. And finally, after 1.5 years, their owner was cited and he was guilty. So we got those animals. And we found them loving homes after that. It was fantastic. Now, there we go. Once the impound period is complete, if a dog is not picked up by an owner, the county releases the dog to us. We take ownership of that dog. In the last 10 years, there were only about 3 cases that we did not accept a dog for impoundment. Only 3. These were extremely aggressive, dangerous animals that could not be safely adopted out to our community. We're not going to put that dog into our community. That is our responsibility. That is mine, as I took an oath to become an animal control officer. It's very important. This is just the facts. I want to clarify a specific situation for the commissioners that have put out there saying that we refuse to impound a dog. Now, this dog was picked up by County Animal Control or PD. I'm not sure. It was taken to South Coast Humane. South Coast Humane was serving as the impound facility for this animal. Once this dog was off of its stray hold, South Coast refused to accept this dog, saying that they were full and did not have room. We did not say that. So South Coast had the animal control officer, Rubia, drive that dog up to our shelter, and Rubia and I spoke, and she said, no, it's off its stray hold. South Coast is not going to take this dog. Our contractual dedication to you guys is over. We're an impound facility. We're not just taking dogs for no reason. We have a waiting list just like everybody else. So we did send that dog back to South Coast, where it started its stray hold, where it began. Now, if they're not going to do the full animal control, then it should have started at our shelter. So these are just facts. And I appreciate everybody coming out to us and supporting us. If anybody has any questions about facts that were also spoken, I only have 3 minutes.
I do have a question.
No, we're not speaking.
Well, wait, are you
No.
county represented or not? I was contacted by your attorney and she asked me to not allow the commissioners to have any input.
Absolutely.
I feel
I
like
can stand up as a person.
Okay, then that, there's a normal
gonna
common
evolve into
courtesy.
back and
So anyways, I only have 3 minutes, so please stop.
Your questions are with their attorney.
So anyways, I appreciate you guys and your support. And if you guys have any questions about how my shelter is ran, what is happening, the lies that were spoken, please feel free. Come in, talk to me. My doors are open. My phone is always ringing. I will answer those questions because the things that were said about us is false, most of them. So thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. I'd like to just remind, it is a 3-minute, and Amanda, you got 7 minutes. So.
That's fine, okay. Sorry, somebody.
I'll be fast.
Thank you.
My name is Kim Schlack. Can everybody hear me out there in the cheap seats? I'll try to speak loudly. My name is Kim Schlack. I'm the Vice President, Board of Directors of Wild Rivers Animal Rescue. I just want to reiterate that since our nonprofit's inception, we've cared for the dogs brought in by the County Animal Control for the duration of their impoundment period. And if no one came forward to claim them, we accepted those dogs and found homes for them. Let me say again, for over a decade, we've accepted 99.9% of these dogs post-impoundment. Those very rare exceptions Amanda has just spoken to. We very much want to continue providing this service to the county because frankly, we do it well and we do it with heart.
Yes.
In August, we approached the county with proposed revisions to the contract that we have with them. They never contacted us to discuss. In September, the county stopped all monthly payments to Wild Rivers that were prescribed in the contract. We were forced to issue a termination letter because the county was in breach of contract, not paying us, and refusing to talk to us. Even when we issued them the termination, we said, come talk to us. Still, nothing from the county. It's premature to discuss any provisions of a revised contract or to put those proposed changes out for public comment or consumption, as was done yesterday by Ted Fitzgerald, and as was repeated this evening. Yesterday was the first time the county has ever communicated with us on this matter. As Ted Fitzgerald said earlier, our attorney has spoken to him today about this. Finally, we just want to say how grateful we are to our community for their overwhelming support. We do this work because it's our passion to care for the animals. It is a joy and a privilege to do it in such a wonderful community. Thank you all.
Barbara Williams is next.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Barbara Williams, and I'm here as a voter, a taxpayer, a dog owner,
Closer.
and a supporter of both Wild Rivers and South Coast Humane. I'm also new, so please, I'm nervous, bear with me. I have questions. Could the responsibility for enforcing dog control ordinances be returned to the county sheriff's office? Could all dog deputies receive basic training in dog control ordinances and procedures? I believe that sheltering animals rest best with Wild Rivers. If an updated animal shelter services agreement can be negotiated, they could include the sheltering the dogs for their impound period. Responsibility for licensing dogs rests with county administration. But I could not make the website link work, even using Firefox or Microsoft Edge. I was wondering if those who administer rabies vaccine could not be tasked with receiving applications and registration fees and resubmitting them to the county. Okay. The costs, the $19,225 annual offer in the revised agreement for 3 double kennels housing up to 6 dogs would work out to about $875 a night if they were at full capacity for a whole year. The offer of $20 a night for additional kennel space is below what you pay a local vet to board your dog, $30 a night, $32. I'm afraid that the proposed change from a animal shelter services agreement to a dog control shelter services agreement could cause the property to revert to the county because it would violate the May 2015 deed. I hope I'm wrong, but it wouldn't be right if it did. Let sheriff's deputies be dog control officers with the appropriate training and oversight. Let Wild Rivers Animal Rescue be a shelter without requiring it to euthanize any animal in violation of its no-kill mission. Let the county commissioners set dog control policies and procedures, negotiate an updated animal shelter services agreement, and oversee their implementation. Let county administration manage licensing, fix the website, and outsource application and registration fee collection is possible to all who administer rabies vaccines. Let dog owners comply with dog control regulations and license their dogs. I think we can best serve the citizens of Curry County by working together. Thank you and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Becky Jacobs.
Jackie Jacobs. I'm here as a voter and a citizen. And I have a lot of concerns. This whole Wild Rivers Animal Shelter situation seems like something that you as a BOC slid in as a last minute thing before Christmas to try and be like, oh, people aren't paying attention to this. And if there were issues, it kind of seems like, Mr. Alcorn, I watched your Facebook live thing, and it seemed like you were talking in circles a lot of the time. And it seems like you guys as commissioners, seems like the whole enforcement officer department, you're in trouble on that because of a lack of foresight. You know, the buck stops with every single one of you guys. And now you're trying to make up for it. That's not Wild River's fault. They've had existing contracts. And now, because you guys messed up in your oversight and previous boards, it might not be all you guys, previous BOC commissioners messed up in oversight and putting people in charge that didn't even read the codes. I mean, my God, that's just kind of basic. You have a job and you don't even know what you're supposed to be enforcing? And how did nobody catch that? Not anybody. And it seems like there's a lot of, you guys keep, Mr. Alcorn, you kept saying, I thrive for transparency. I'm trying to be completely transparent. But this whole situation reeks of backdoor politics. It really does. And you might be trying to be transparent, but the appearances, you are not. This is, right now, this whole situation is transparent as mud. And there's things that I want to hear from Wild Rivers as a voter. Like, why do you want such a double in fees? Common sense tells me, okay, look at vet bills. Look at how much dog food has went up. Look at how much wages have went up. All of these things. But they should be able to provide proof of those. What is the other side of this story to the dog that got refused and got euthanized? What is the story to that? And it seems like there's a lot of he said, she said, but there's nothing in front of the public where we can come in and say, yes, this is what happened, we watched the whole thing. And if you want to be transparent, be transparent. It's not that hard. You know, at the end of the day, every single one of you guys work for us. And I think that one of the things that you underestimated is how much people love animals. You know, it's kind of basic common sense. You don't mess with the elderly, you don't mess with the children, and you don't mess with their animals or our constitutional rights. That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
Audrey, and forgive me, Audrey, for not trying to say your last name.
It's okay.
Okay, thank you.
It's not easy. Hi, my name is Audrey Travascus. Some of you guys already know me. I do pictures for a lot of the rescues around here, including South Coast. I've done for Wild Rivers, and some of the rescues over in California. If a resolution can't be made, I have a few suggestions, and I did put them on public online, that Wild Rivers remains a rescue as intended. South Coast has purchased property up on Taylor Creek Road in September as their new rescue, that they could either sell or lease the building that they're in now, or that same building was donated to them by South Coast Lumber, and they could make money on the lease or on the sale in order to finish their build. While South Coast is getting their rescue together, it would be a good idea for South Coast and Wild Rivers to share the responsibilities for animal control, and each one, I have a hard time standing, sorry. each one of them share the responsibilities evenly, and covering, any animals that are picked up, should be returned to the rescue that they came from with no exceptions. Both rescues should be required to have chips registered to them so it's known where the animal came from, because 90% of the time, people don't register, change the registration on it. Also, adoptions, the adopters should be verified, that they are suitable adopters. People lie, they're gonna fill out whatever they want on the applications. If you verify your, adopters, you're gonna have less people dumping the animals. They're really gonna be invested in it. And I think this should apply to breeders, anyone who sells an animal, any rescue. With all these checks and balances, you're gonna have a lot less dogs dumped, and not have such a big problem on your hands. That's it. Thank you.
Nancy Chester is next.
Okay, most of my questions have been answered
Okay.
by
All right,
by
thank you,
other
ma'am.
people, so.
Vicky Shaw?
I am good.
Okay, thanks, Vicky.
I will take her spot.
Gary, Wyatt? Wyatt, Gary, hi Gary,
Hi, how you do?
good.
Commissioners, my point really,
You can pull that mic up, it'll,
I'm taller than my
It gets.
cohorts here.
yeah.
There we go. My point really is towards the commissioners. It's about the social media. I've only lived here a few years, but I've been a volunteer at the thrift store. When patrons come in, I always have a little chat with them. What brought you to Gold Beach? What did you do for a living? There's a lot of retirees here, as everybody in this room knows. You would be absolutely amazed how many professional, wealthy, educated people we have in Gold Beach. If you don't believe me, look at the median price of a home in Gold Beach. That'll tell you. Very educated. We have people come into that thrift store, and I'm always amazed at their education. When you're doing your social media, you're looking at the citizens of Gold Beach like we're third graders. We're not third graders. We understand what's going on. You need to get the facts. You need to look at the data before you print or send out fairy tale stories about what's truly going on. Do your homework, do your due diligence. The people in this room are absolutely passionate about animals. That's why we have the shelter, that's why we give to the shelter, and that's why we volunteer at the shelter. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Nast is next.
Well, I was hoping not to do this until after there was more give and take between the two parties in question, but I'm going to extemporaneously say that I have a real problem with the whole proceeding being done lawyer to lawyer. I don't dispute the fact that a lawyer to lawyer necessity is there, but I think that those negotiations should not be carried out by lawyer to lawyer. The lawyer to lawyer thing should be, did these negotiations that took place actually represent reality? And I can tell you that I've been peripherally involved and associated with the animal shelter since at least two people before Catherine Powers. And I think that and I know that over time, particularly after Catherine took over, that over time, that there is obvious changes that need to be made to policy. And I have no problem with there being changes made to policy. But the fact that there seems to be a lot of finger pointing going on at the moment with regards to who is supposed to supply animal control and who is supposed to supply shelter, that the finger pointing is just is beyond belief. You guys have a classic failure of communication. And I really think that, as somebody else previously said, do some due diligence. I really think that it's not necessarily becoming that a lawyer make a presentation with regards to this is what I think is best.
With that, we have no more public comments, so we will move on to consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
As amended, there is one more, yes.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, motion and second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
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 I say yes, motion carries 3-0.
I just will do one comment, that Luke did a great job getting the Spire grant.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal. And it is nice to see some of those new hires for the road department. Certainly.
Yeah, and I sat in on many of those interviews, actually all of the interviews on there. And we've definitely improved that process in terms of interviewing future employees.
Do you wanna give a 2-minute break for people who wanna leave, so it's not disruptive?
Yeah, we sure can. I mean, everybody is welcome to stay, but we have to have some semblance of order just to do the business of the county, so. Let's just take a 5-minute break, or 10-minute break, so we'll be back here at 6:40, 7-minute break. back up, and we're gonna go into a public hearing. That public hearing is county clerk has proposed an update on their current fees. Attached is the current fees that they're using and proposed fees to be implemented at the first of the year. A public hearing must be open for discussion prior to the vote. So we are gonna vote on that today, gentlemen. And anybody from the public can say yay or nay or what, and if you want, we can tell you the, I wonder how hard it'd be to get a copy of this. If anybody would like a,
These have been posted with the fees that
Amounts.
the clerk modified have been posted with the packet online. It's sort of out of my purview to review them. This is the clerk had worked with the survey and so forth on modifying some of the fees.
and it's been a while since they raised the fees.
Yeah.
So gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion to approve this order.
I'll move to approve the order.
Got a motion to approve. Any question, comment? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0. Next on the agenda is, update that Brad was talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah. Oh, DCO update. Okay. All right. Yeah, I made a few notes. Basically, since this is the last meeting of the year, a year in which I was appointed as the single point of contact for the non-elected departments, I remain in that position. So I'd just like to point out that working with those departments and also with the elected departments as possible. Reorganization and reallocation of staffing and other resources proceeding, and to date has resulted in measurable savings. These changes are necessary to meet current and future demands on county services. That includes contracting with Maine Council of Governments to provide oversight on our finance department and to give us direction regarding modified policies that will be able to protect the county going forward. That's not limited to just finance, but also we have new policies that have been implemented with IT department, of course, with the IT disaster. I'd just like to point out that we are in the process of hiring additional staff for that department, and IT remains a constant, and it will remain a constant challenge in today's environment for every organization going forward. And I applaud Phil Dixon and his commitment to that. He's really doing a great job, and he's looking outside for extra help, and he's getting it, and I think that's great. Also, I've been working on a revised approach to public works and finance as well. Where the finance, those two things together cause us to modify the code. And finally, a unified approach to most departments and departmental and budget issues through the Cassell system should allow us, that's the unified software system that has modules that apply to almost everything that's done throughout the county, from roads to just about everything. And if we can get all that stuff based in one system, you're gonna have a lot less waste, a lot less duplication, and that should result in increased efficiencies throughout the county over the next year. That's basically my report.
Okay, any questions?
No, I just want to add to some of the staffing, in conjunction with also trying to create some systems. I've been working directly with Ted on working on building the systems that we currently have in place as well in terms of staff and communication. So we've been working on the culture of our departments, but with weekly department head meetings. I mean, obviously, during the cyber attack, we were forced into weekly meetings, even more than daily meetings at some points. But instead of, we continued that purpose going forward, and I think when we get public information officer who's gonna be able to take the information from a lot of these meetings that the department heads are reporting on and what they're happening in their department, what they've achieved that week, getting that out in a concise document to the community to see in real time what's happening with our departments and how they're responding, where the road department's currently working, what's going on in juvenile, et cetera. Will be an added benefit on that aspect. And in conjunction with that, we're also working on, we have elected meetings to make sure that all the communication is moving forward with all the electeds, and that the bridges are shored up there. As you know, John, you've been here in this capacity longer than the rest of us. But I have a pretty decent history with what's happened in the county. You know, communication has been one of, if not one of the biggest struggles within the county. Systems are divided. Like you said, we're operating on so many different systems that it's hard to even speak the same language a lot of times. When you have a finance person in the road department that's running on an IRIS program, and you got our finance person who's running the county on a Cassell program, and you're trying to cross-check documents, it becomes a very difficult task. And so, you know, putting the systems in place that allow for even more clear communication not only makes us more efficient, but it makes us more productive in terms of our ability to work as a team. And so, you know, I think that was one of the big goals before we got hit with the cyber attack and the fires and et cetera. When we were establishing our annual goals, you know, building trust. And building trust within the community starts with that building trust within the county, right? We can't expect the community to hold strong trust within the county if we have individuals within our own departments that don't trust each other, right? So strengthening those relationships, and I think coming into this next year, having stronger systems, more cohesive work environments. I think we're gonna, you know, the ability to get information out to the public. I think it was Mr. Nast who talked about breakdown of communication. Those are the things that I think we're gonna be able to see huge advantages moving into this new year.
Right, and that communication, Jay, you know, communication is very difficult with all the reorganization we're doing. Yeah, it's a hard thing to do, and I know we have a PIO position that is, you know, hopefully we'll fill. But man, that would be really helpful to have right now. I'm certainly not a PIO, don't want to be, and it would be nice if we had somebody in that role that could address some of the issues in the recent passionate topic that we're dealing with.
Sure.
It would be really nice to have that person in place, so hopefully we can.
So, yeah, it's been a huge task, right? So in the middle of all this, not the emergencies and everything else, trying to move forward with all of these other systems at the same time, while rebuilding old systems, it's you know, and there's a lot of times I see it, and I don't think a lot of times the public gets an opportunity to see it, but you know, the work that's happening behind the scenes is intense, and you know, Ted and Rabia, the department heads, the others, they're working so diligently, so hard to get these systems put in place while keeping one arm on, you know, correcting crisis. And so, one of the things that I try to remind everyone is, if we only are focused on the problems, then eventually we become it. Because we become what you focus on. And it's a very difficult task a lot of times to keep an eye looking forward while addressing what is currently the crisis in the moment. And we can get into a complete reactive mode by continuing to just focus on the moment and lose sight of what's going on in front of us down the road, right? Our objectives. And I applaud everybody during this last year who were able to put one hand on a crisis and another reaching forward to move their departments forward and move the county forward. So.
On that topic, I just want to say one additional thing. because some of those crises that we had, specifically the IT disaster, resulted in our creating that relationship with Lane Council of Governments. And so sometimes things can turn into a boom, because that, I can't emphasize enough how great it is to be able to make a call and deal with somebody with a level of expertise that is beyond anything that I'm capable of, or that I could find here regarding our finance situation. I'd also like to say that some other crises that we had earlier, like for example, the north bank of the road, we're moving forward with that fix. But I'd like to say that things are a little different now. We had a slide in this recent storm up on the south bank of the Elk, and I gotta tell you, it was pretty similar to the north bank of the Rogue slide. And I know the people who live up the north bank of the road were upset with the amount of time that it took to get it fixed, and so was I, and it was unacceptable. But the south bank of the Elk, it's fixed, and it was the road department that went up there and jumped on it, had it fixed inside a week, and it's the most professional looking job that you could ever hope to see. They took the initiative, they called me up and said, hey, this is what we're doing, you got a problem with that? I said, do it. And they rented the equipment, got a long stick excavator, rounded up the rock, got out there, got right on it, and I couldn't be more impressed. And I will say that if today was my last day here, I would feel like that I was part of seeing something change there, and I'm pretty proud of those guys.
I was up there this week and looked at it, and I was surprised it looked as good as it did.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it looks really good, and, yeah, because that wasn't that long ago, weeks.
No, and that's a testament of what it should looks like every time, so excellent job.
So we are gonna move to the item, 6B, ODOT agreement with the north bank of the Rogue River permanent fix. So the county should consider the approval of an agreement allowing ODOT to construct a permanent repair of North Bank Rogue River Road at milepost 3.07. The county performed emergency repairs, however, this agreement would allow ODOT to perform the permanent repair. The estimated project cost is approximately $3.4 million. I'll entertain a motion to approve this ODOT ER agreement.
I'll move to approve this ODOT agreement.
A second.
Any other discussion? And part of the discussion is ODOT is helping us out because this is a viable detour if something goes wrong with 101. So it
Right.
really is a benefit to the county that ODOT would do this, so.
We have a match, but this is gonna be a soldier pile fix, and it's gonna be a pretty major piece of construction. I'm really proud of the fix that we got done with the help of, that was basically at the direction of Chris L., local geotech, who kind of took the helm on that fix earlier, and came up with some kind of, well, just efficient, but not that this is gonna be more of a long-term fix.
Right.
The only problem is that river's moving. It's gonna, we just gotta, it's like fighting a tide. It's gonna continue to
Pushing, yeah.
scour further up when we have other bad winters, which, I mean, one might even say we're having a bad winter right now, so we'll see.
So, just to acknowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 3.4 million, 3.1 of which will be federal funds, and we will have a $300,000 match.
Correct.
Good deal. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
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 I say yes, motion carries 3-0. So gentlemen, that is it on the discussion action items. Next up on the agenda, number 7 is elected official updates. There's an elected official in the audience with any update? Treasurer Barnes?
Yeah, I just want to be real quick and say thank you for agreeing to sign that letter. It's with the Oregon Department of Administrative Services. It came up because I asked to get Nick put on as a recipient of the notices we get from them whenever we get state money, OLCC money, amusement, lottery, tobacco, all comes through the DAS site. I asked to get Nick put on, and come to find out that the signers for the county are Deb Crumley and Carly Wright, who've both been gone for quite a while, so I wasn't authorized to put him on. So this will keeping the process going of getting Nick added on to all the county stuff so that he's able to take care of county business. I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you, Dave.
Next up on the agenda is commissioner updates. Mr. Alcorn is, because his name starts with an A, is the first one up.
Yeah, so this is a very challenging time to be a Curry County Commissioner for sure, and there'll be many other challenging times. I knew that when I decided to do this. I want to address social media for a second, and I think his name was Gary. He mentioned, yes, Gary Wyatt. He mentioned the fairy tale stories and some of the passion involved in social media. There's been a lot of really hateful, harmful, misleading comments that were made, and about a very passionate topic, and this does the community no good. While I don't like to hear those comments, I do pay attention to them. I am aware of them. I try to monitor them the best that I can, because it's what the community's saying. And of course, I don't catch them all, but I catch a lot of them. And then there are people that reach out to me and tell me and share with me what those comments are. And then yesterday afternoon, when I came to work, I was informed that some of the workers at the courthouse, they had found a dead kitten outside my office window. Now, I want to believe that that's a coincidence. I want to believe that. But, you know, when people are saying on social media that I want to kill animals, and there's a dead animal outside my office, the cop in me certainly says, what's going on here? And again, I want to emphasize that I'm hoping that's a coincidence. There were a lot of people that said that I want to kill animals. And that makes me think that people might think they know who I am. But I want to share some history, my history with you a little bit about my personal relationship with animals. So, when I was a police officer in Fresno, I was a canine handler. And I handled the first dog that was on our special weapons and tactical team. His name was Racky. He was my partner. He lived with my family. Highly decorated dog. He saved my life twice. He saved some of my team members' lives. He had a short career because he worked so hard. And the most difficult thing that I ever had to do was put that dog down. And I think about that all the time. All the time. That is the worst thing that ever happened to me in my career. I'm fortunate for the time that I had and the experience that I had to work that animal. He was such a part of our team. It was, I mean, we would go drink beer after training, and the dog would be with us, and the guys would pull out a bowl and pour some beer in there for him, and he'd drink the beer. He was a team member. He was my partner. He was part of my family. When I moved here to Curry County, and I volunteered for the Sheriff's Department, I stood up their canine program. I helped John with that. I trained the dogs. I trained the deputies. Last year, when we had one of our dogs, Canine Nero, that we had to put down for medical reasons, I did my best to help Deputy King through that. And I was there when we had to put that dog down. I have 4 dogs now. One I trained from a puppy, his name is Racky, like my first dog, because I want to remember him. Looks like him, acts like him. He's a cadaver dog. I volunteered him here at the sheriff's office. The other 3 dogs we have, they were saved. They were going to be euthanized from shelters that were high kill shelters. We saved him. One of those dogs, Jen just brought her home. It's a disabled little puppy. It's an amazing little dog. That's part of my family. And when I hear someone say that I want to kill dogs, I want everybody in this room to know, and everybody watching this to know, that I will never support any type of a kill shelter, ever. Not gonna happen. Are there times that dogs have to be euthanized? Absolutely. Absolutely. But just because? No. And, Gary talked about passion. That is my passion. So, I hope that I'm able to set that record straight. And the last thing that I want to say today is I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all of the people who have emailed me, text messaged me, called me, that saw the stuff happening on social media, that saw the hateful, misleading frenzy that was going on, and that emailed me and said, hey, I know this is hard. Don't give up. Don't quit. Stay the course. I watched the meeting. I listened to the facts. I detached emotionally. I understand. Please, please don't quit. Stay the course. And for all those people that sent those emails, I want to say thank you for taking the time to again, educate yourself on the facts, to watch, to listen, to detach emotionally, and taking the time out of your day to send me those messages that you sent me. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate that. It is very meaningful. And that's all I have, John.
Thanks, Brad, that's good. Along those same lines, I just want to say to the public, it's not easy sometimes to sit up here, especially when there's a crowd of people that are not attacking, but just they're passionate, and but that's what we were elected to do. We were elected to sit up here and hear from the public that elected us, and then move forward. And for me personally, I don't take it personal, and I guess, being the older gentleman up here that doesn't have Facebook, I don't have to suffer as much as these guys that hear that. But I do, I think Natasha shared some stuff. Boy, you're getting beat up.
Sorry.
I've been beat up. I've been beat up a few times, and I can handle it. I knew coming in, and we all 3 of us did, knew coming in that there's gonna be these times, but this is what we elected to do. And so, the key for me is communication. I'm old school, so I go back to that old movie. I don't know if it was Steve McQueen or Paul Newman, but he was in prison, and what the prison guard said, what we have here is a failure to communicate. And that's what we gotta get through that. We gotta get past the social media buzz and lies and discord, and communicate. Brad said coincidence, you know, I've heard it said, I don't believe what's the word again? Coincidence, yeah, don't believe in coincidences. So I just want you to know that I take pride in being a county commissioner and, no agenda. I guess I'm a weirdo, and I think the other two guys are as weird as me. We want what's best for Curry County. That's the only reason I ran, and that's the reason I'm here. So we will try our best to do better with communication. And I think part of that is the order that we approved last month, or last meeting, was a PIO, Public Information Officer. Somebody who can take what we say, 3 knotheads up here, well, 1 knothead and 2 guys that are smarter than I am, and put that out to the public in a way that it makes sense. I know that we can do better, and we will attempt to, at least I will for sure. And, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Jay?
Tough acts to follow. So I have just a quick update on the, we met with, the Nielsen research team.
The survey.
Yep, today, to discuss about funding solutions. I think we shored some stuff up. We got some good numbers. I worked with the sheriff and the captain yesterday to get those numbers kind of squared away. So they want to launch that ASAP. They're gonna send us a finalized version.
Nice.
Once we get the thumbs up, they're gonna start that process with a goal of having it.
Maybe just expound a little bit on, for the public to.
Oh, sure. So we're working on a funding solution for the county, particularly law enforcement. And so we started out with the idea of we're gonna gather information on, public information on what seems to be the best course of action, giving a few different looks at those funding options in terms of doing a 3-year levy, a split rate levy, a law enforcement district, identifying where the county values lie, what they seem to be most amenable to approving, to continue to fund the sheriff's department. We were able to identify numbers that would keep the sheriff's department current, and then the number that would provide the sheriff's department with the resources to be able to provide 24-hour coverage for everybody in Curry. So want to get all that information out so that we can gather as much information back before we decide on how to move forward in May. So that's the process with that.
May ballot.
Mm-hmm. And I want to commend, number one, I want to commend Brad. I know you were compelled to have, go on to respond in social media. And it's a tough task, right? And so, and I saw a lot of the messages as well. I get a text from my wife about midway through the day, and she says, "Oh my God, they're calling you a dog killer." And I was like, "Whoa." I volunteered for the Humane Society as a board member for years.
Yeah.
I foster dogs. We have 4 dogs of our own, thanks to your wife. We've had up to 13 dogs in our house because we were fostering so many because of the crowded shelters. So I challenge anybody who's been able to do that. And so, at some point, I think how I try to attempt to manage is just, know thyself, right? And that's where I think you have to kind of, or at least for me, that's where I have to kind of go mentally, is just be true to myself and understand that, it's not, it isn't all. And those who know, right? And so, but I commend you for moving forward on that, and working to get that information out to the public. It will be a lot smoother and a lot, probably, the ability to have a PIO would be able to provide, very, direct message. And also to Ted for, reaching out to work on a solution, with Wild Rivers, and I'm hopeful that we can find a viable, workable solution, moving forward, so, that's it.
Thanks, Jim.
Alrighty, there is no executive session.
Oh, and happy birthday.
Everybody ice cream in Ted's office, and, with that, meeting adjourned, thanks for coming.